Welcome to the Survive Scale Soar podcast. Hear and learn through the success of others how to build the life and business you deserve. Learn to overcome failure, what it means to seek out growth, and how to become the best possible version of yourself. And now, here's your host, coach, entrepreneur, husband and father, and author of the #1 best-selling book, Survive Scale Soar, Jeremy Williams.
And welcome back to the Survive Scale Soar podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy, and this show comes in two formats. We have Real Talk, where it's just me and the mic, and I share what's happening in the world and how it's impacting business owners, both in business and life. And then we have Success Talks. That's where I get to interview some amazing, amazing people and what has made them successful in their life. And today is a Success Talk, and I've got Daniel Gomez today. He's the owner of Shield of Faith Coaching. He is a motivational speaker and keynote speaker, and he's also the author of The Making of a Millionaire Mindset. Welcome, Daniel.
Jeremy, man, hey, thank you so much for having me on your show. I've been having it on my calendar. I was like, when is that day going to show up? Come on. So thank you for having me, man. I'm honored to be here with you.
I'm really excited. I've been following you for a while. I'm, like it's that voyeurism, right? So, social media gives us, and been watching you and what you're doing, and really enjoy the message that you're putting out there. I love that your coaching company is Shield of Faith. I'm a person of faith as well. And, I really enjoy watching your stuff and hearing the message you put out there. You're definitely making an impact on people.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, the ironic part to all of that, Jeremy, is I never planned on being a coach.
That's how it always happens, right?
And I don't say that. I mean, I understand business, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not, they're like, hey, what are you talking about? So I ran multi-million-dollar dealerships for many years, and I've had hundreds of employees, and we've taken businesses that were losing $1 million to making $1 million, and it's all that. But when my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer 5 years ago in 2017, really my philosophy was I'm going to take some time off and go back to work and run another organization. And little did I know when I retired that, man, I really, that's the first time I really had a chance to decompress being 44 years old, Jeremy. I really looked in the mirror and I said, I don't like that guy in the mirror, to be totally transparent with you. And little did I know, though, I didn't realize I had so much junk inside of me. And as I started really just kind of looking at myself, I heard this whisper from God that said, I want you to be a motivational speaker. Never even thought about it prior in my life, 44 years. And, I just took a leap and I believed it. For some reason, don't ask me why. I think if I was to go back, I'd probably think like, Daniel, you're crazy, don't do it. But because I left a job that I was earning about $250,000 a year at the time. But the decision was was I going to hire somebody to take care of my wife, or was I going to man up and take care of my wife and honor my vows? And being scared as crap, I left work, and here we are on your show 5 years later.
It's interesting. Very, very similar stories in terms of, having that small, still voice, that you hear, and just being able to honor that and be obedient in that. I walked away. I came out of college and worked for a YMCA. It was a great job. I got paid decently for coming out of college. Yet it just wasn't what I was passionate about. And so, it is scary when you start a new business and you're starting something that might not have initially been in your wheelhouse, yet you step out in faith and God honors that. And, I see that and I can hear that in the things you're saying. Yeah.
Well, the thing is is that right now, maybe somebody's listening to this episode and they're saying, man, I'm tired of what I'm doing, or you have this idea that's been dropped into your heart, into your soul, and you're scared. But this is what I want people to understand is when you start over, Jeremy, in business, in life, you're not starting over from ground zero. And what I mean by that is little did I think that my 20 years in the automotive industry was going to help me to become the person that I am today. Because it's right, you're talking about automotive, motivational speaker, but little did I know, even though I ran the Chevy dealership that I was at for many, many years, the thing is, every Monday I always did the sales trainings. I just loved it, right? I just loved pouring into our employees. I loved it. It wasn't from a egotistic standpoint. I just loved training. Well, every Monday for so many years, after a while, you're like you get a rhythm going, and then you hear some of the guys say, "Man, hey boss, that was very motivational," or "Man, you speak pretty good," but you just hear it and you're like, oh, like right, you kind of take it in. And that first moment that I had by myself to really reflect, all those words that were spoken into me. Little did I know that every sales training that I did over that decade was preparing me for the bigger stage of really becoming that motivational keynote speaker. And I think somebody needs to hear that out there, because right now you're doing redundant things and maybe it doesn't add value to what you're doing now. You don't feel fulfilled, but that's your training ground for the next big thing in your business.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I look at the same thing when I left. I had a degree. I didn't need a degree to do real estate. I didn't need, I was running youth sport programs and adult fitness programs. Well, all those skill sets that you build up, you don't realize all of those things. It works together. It's like a magic sauce, and next thing you know, all those things become relevant. It's just pointed in a different direction. And so, no, I'm right there with you on that. I heard something there, though. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Is you were talking about how your employees would speak words into you. How important is that, just as individuals, as human beings? How important is that we need to be very careful, and we can be intentional too in the words that we use to speak into people?
It's crucial, Jeremy, and I use the word crucial because it's crucial is a powerful word, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, because we don't realize. Put in one of my books, Sticker Shock, I talk about how when a child is not affirmed as a child, that child is going to be a less confident adult. And I think we're seeing a lot of that right now with a lot of broken homes. But a child that is affirmed from the day they're born till just their whole childhood, that child has a higher percentage of being more successful because they have more confidence, because that they had that affirmation, right? They were affirmed as a child. And even further, true fact scientifically, if you research it, is that if a baby is not held and touched within its first, I don't know what the exact time frame is, that baby could die because of the lack of the human touch. So when a child is born as a baby, as an infant, when they get that first held by their mom, they know that because they recognize that. So it's the human touch is powerful. It's needed, because so many people right now, I feel they lack that work within themselves, because we don't realize. I think the biggest lie that we bought into as kids, you probably heard this, and more than likely yes, because you grew up we were in San Marcos, the same city. But one of the biggest lies that we heard is, and it was innocent. It was, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. I think everybody said that. But I think now that we're on the side of our lives, like, well, shit, that was probably the worst stuff that could have really been happening to us, is those words that were spoken into us. So it's crucial that we speak life to ourselves. It's crucial that we speak life to our spouse, to our wife, to our husbands, and it's even 1,000 times more crucial that we speak life into our children, because those words, they carry those words for a lifetime, Jordan.
Absolutely. And I think about all the conversations I've had over the years, and the stuff, the baggage that you carry with that. And a lot of times it wasn't actions as much as it was words.
Yeah. Well, think about it. One thing I learned just in running employees, having employees of 100 max employees that I think I was overseeing, is a simple good morning. Hey, I appreciate you being here on time. Or, hey, thank you for taking care of that customer. And I'm not just saying, right, I think sometimes when I go do my, right, because by God's grace, I was the top 14 business coach here in San Antonio this past 2022. And I've been pretty successful as a business coach. But one thing that I tell a lot of these young business owners or leaders is that you have to affirm your people. And this is what they say. Well, no, because if you give them all the recognition, then they take it for granted. No, they don't. I go, that's BS. That's your belief system because you never got it probably as a person coming up in life. Because one thing that people will do this, right? If you what you don't appreciate will leave you. What you don't, let me say it again. What you don't appreciate, ladies and gentlemen, will leave you. So if you're not appreciating your friends the way you should, if you really value them, if you're not appreciating your employees, if you're not appreciating your counterparts at work and really helping them just to become better human beings, it's just you're setting yourself up for disaster. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we need to realize is that appreciation goes. People would rather there's a huge percentage that people think it's all about money. I love success and financial gains as much as anybody else, but I would tell you that many people out there would rather be appreciated than get a dollar raise or get a $5,000 a year raise.
I agree with that. I ran a real estate brokerage in the Woodlands, Texas, a few years back, and took it. It was about 220, 30 agents, took it to over 400 agents, and we closed over $1 billion of sales, which was one of the first real estate brokerage offices in this organization to do that. And it was a simple problem. You had to recruit, you had to attract people, yet everybody in the real estate world, broker owners of these offices, what they couldn't do was keep them. And that was what you just said was the solution. And it was really simple. It was just paying attention to people. It was acknowledging them. It's affirming them. It's picking up the phone and just calling them. It's noticing that they've got their head down and just saying, hey, is everything going all right in the world? You want to talk about it, right? Those little things, you got to show them that they're important, or like you said, they will leave you.
You know, one point to that is the word I want to throw in here is intentional. I think what really helped me this year, we had a record-breaking year for our overall organization of DG Enterprises. But one of the key members, one of the key reasons is that I was very intentional on reaching out to 5 people a day. And what I mean by that, right? You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that girl that when the phone's ringing, Jeremy's like, ugh, what do they want? Right? I mean, believe me, that was probably me 5, 10 years ago. I'm just being totally honest, right? Because that's just what you know from instinctive behaviors. You want to be the person that, wow, right? Jeremy thought about me. Man, Daniel thought about me. And it's as simple as this, ladies and gentlemen. Write this down. Write this down. Starting today, I'm committed to texting 5 people every single morning. As soon as you get going, one of the first things you do is you send either a voice text message. That's why I love iPhones, right? Because you can send a voicemail. That's why. And for those of you that have a smartphone, I'm praying for you to get an iPhone for Christmas. But you send a simple 30-second, 1-minute voice message through iPhone, or you send a quick text message that says, hey, thinking about you, have an amazing day. 5 people a day. That's helped me to really stay in contact and relevant with people that I love and care. And that way they know, like, man, Daniel really thought about me. And everybody has 5 minutes to spare because it literally takes you 5 minutes to send 5 text messages that quickly.
Yeah, that's a great tip. And I'm really big on personalization. There's a lot of technology out there. Technology is okay. It does some great things. It can provide some leverage and some efficiencies. Yet I see a lot of people that are using it to replace that relationship building component of their business. And so I like to personalize things. And what I started doing about 2 years ago is on birthdays, I'll actually shoot a video and just be like, hey, Daniel, it's Jeremy. Just wanted to let you know, I did send you your obligatory happy birthday on Facebook, but I wanted to send you a personal message today. And I'd find something about that person. And so every time I do that, I get something back. And it really hit home. It's about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I had somebody reach out that you would think in the status that they were in, they would probably have a lot more people reaching out to them. In this case, I was the only person that did something personal for them that day. They said, yeah, I got the Facebook, happy birthday. I got a couple texts, but you actually took the time to do that for me. And he goes, it made my day.
Yes, like a great example of just to your point, you have to personalize it sometimes. My wife, we were using send out cards for a while, and our assistant, our project manager, she was like, well, we need to get the Christmas cards ready. I'm like, great. She goes, yeah, you need to sign them. I'm like, all of them? She goes, yes. Like, you really need to sign them. So that's what we did yesterday. Does it take more time? Of course it takes more time. But people right? Even if 5 people appreciate that hand signature because it's in green marker for Christmas time, they're gonna know that Daniel took it upon himself to really just personalize his Christmas card to me. Sometimes there's people that really appreciate that out there. So I agree with you 100%, man. It's important. It's important to stay in touch and affirm people because the thing is this. I always remember one of Zig Ziglar's greatest quotes. If you take care of the people, the business will take care of itself.
That's the truth. Daniel, when you look at what's happening in the world, it's obviously been a few years of chaos. What do you think is the biggest challenge that you see business owners facing out there in the world today?
They don't want to change. They don't want to change. They want to use the same strategies that worked 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They want to use the same strategies and they think that it's going to carry them to where they're going, and it's not. And I say that because the word that was so misused during COVID was pivot. You heard the word pivot 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 times,
Yeah.
and I think you can agree with that. And I challenge people. I said, well, great, you're going to pivot. Like, yeah, we're going to pivot. We're going to do this. I go, well, if you don't pivot with a new perspective, a new mindset, a new point of view, with new thinking, you're pivoting to the same old BS that's why you're pivoting, because you're not surviving the way you are.
Yeah,
And
you're doing the same thing, just using a different tool.
yeah. So what good does it do you to pivot if you strike if right? They say just keep going, yeah, but if you're going in the wrong direction or you're going with the wrong things, you're killing yourself. And I say that because when 2020 happened, we were having live events. We had just had one March 5th and 6th. I even think Tony Watley spoke at that, a good friend of ours. And then 2 weeks later, the world closed down March 15th, 16th of 2020. I lost like close to $40,000 in paid speaking gigs just like that. But I had to pivot with a new perspective. Even though I was scared, there was 2 things that really jolted our business to the next level. Was A, we started the Sticker Shock Speaking Academy because I thought everybody was a motivational speaker getting paid. I thought everybody that was speaking had a business, a speaking business, and they didn't. And when that idea came to me, it's like I called my old publisher. I said, hey man, God gave me an idea. Let's start a speaking academy, Sticker Shock. I thought he was going to tell me you're crazy, you're dumb. No, he was like, dude, do it. And I was like, okay. And the beautiful thing about this is that it's grown to be one of our biggest services that we provide because I love speaking. I love adding value. I like people to know that their voice matters, whether you're speaking on a live stage, which I believe that's the ultimate for me to just to see people's hearts crying in the audience and change. And then like what we're doing right now on a podcast. I started my podcast in 2020. And these things help to grow our brand, to grow our business. So think about this right now, right? What's the new idea that you've been scared to do because A, maybe it takes an investment, and B, you're one of those that you're just comfortable and you don't want to change, and you can't help people that don't want to change.
Yeah, and I think finances is probably the lesser of the 2 evils. It's a not willing to change that'll bite you. And you get the same results. You keep living the same way you've been living. Nothing changes. Nothing's new, and you're probably internally dying inside because you want it to be different. You're just not willing to make the change to be different.
Yeah, and I would say this is they need to change their perspective from this, right? When instead of having that word fear come up and right, you're feared, you're scared. Well, when you have fear, it's the same feeling as being excited, right? You're excited, you're use that time to get excited about the new. And when you act in spite of being scared, right? I talk about that in my book, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind, is right to become a millionaire, you gotta act in spite of being scared. I'm scared all the time. We just fought, right? We just had our Millionaire Mind boot camp in San Antonio. I made a $5,000 investment just for the stage. That was no guarantee that no one was gonna show up. And that was aside from the venue, aside from that, and the big rewards don't come with the big risk. And I'm not saying be foolish, but there comes a point where you got to take a bigger risk on yourself, a bigger chance on yourself. Because if you don't bet on yourself, Jeremy, if you don't bet on your business, who's going to bet on your business?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people, right? It's like our new brand came out this year, and I say that because I know, so this is a true fact, how much they think and how much they think in lack and scarcity. And that's another thing that we do a big training called Kill the Employee Mindset, and people don't realize how much in this training, how much they think like an employee. Here's a great example of that. How many people do you know that whether we'll just use it's a digital, I mean, whether it's a business card or whether it's a flyer, it's outdated. They still use that business card. Oh yeah, that's a business card from 4 years ago. You know, every 6 months, give or take, we change our business card. We just like I have a copy of our business card because we're right. We promoted Sticker Shock on one side, and we have our new brand, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind. That's our new business card. I just threw away 1,000 business cards. I paid $80 for them, but you know what? This is a new brand, right? People want to see the new all the time, and sometimes that business card got you to a certain level. Don't hold on to it and keep giving it out because it's irrelevant to your brand. It's irrelevant to your business now. And I know so many people that are stuck on that lack where they want to hold on to that $50 item that they bought or $75. I'm not saying be crazy with it, but there comes a point where you got to know that, hey, I invested in this business card, I invested in this advertisement, whatever it may be, banner, but it doesn't serve me anymore. I need to get the new in there because the new is what excites the people right now.
Yeah, it amazes me. Like it, and you've probably seen this in the real estate world. You drive around and see signs, and you see the person on the sign, and then you see him in person. You're like, is that the same person? And it's like a glamour shot from like 20 years ago, and they look completely different now. And talking about investment is, I get this a lot when I have prospective clients, and we'll do a strategy call. And at some point, you know it's coming. That, well, how much is it going to cost me? And I'm like, no, it's not how much is it going to cost you. It's how much are you willing to invest in yourself, right? It's that switch in perspective. And when they look at it differently, they're like, oh, it is an investment in myself, right?
Yeah, because the thing is that as an employee, you see everything as a cost. As an employee, you're used to the organization or the business you work for paying for everything. And when going back to what I was talking about with running automotive dealerships for many years, it's easy when your budget is $250,000 a week and you're spending that because you're buying pre-owned inventory, new inventory. It's easy to stroke the check for 200,000, whatever it is that we were doing. But then when it's your business and you're spending $500, like, it's a different turn. And I'll never forget the first $500 investment that I made in our business. It was scary. And then the next, it's 1,000. Now I spend 500 or 1,000 like it's nothing. I'll spend up to 5,000 that way. I mean, I use wisdom, of course, but it doesn't. You grow into that, and there's many business owners that they're not growing, right? Like your book, Survive Scale, they're not scaling because they haven't even scaled out to certain levels they're at because they're so scared to put more money into their business because they're not seeing the opportunities. And right now, if we have a huge month, I'll go spend 5,000 on a new stage. I'll go spend another $1,000 in an advertisement or an event that's going to really bring me back the revenues. And people, they want to make their business grow without truly making the investments in the right areas of their business. And that's the one thing that I see a lot of that keeps businesses from soaring. And you got to develop that millionaire mind, because if you think in scarcity, if you think in lack, it's going to hurt your business. And this is the main thing is I realize as I do a lot of business coaching, Jeremy, many people have a poor self-image of themselves. Many business owners do. And then there's a lid. There's a reason their business is suffering. There's a reason that they have high turnover. And in like you were talking about, they can't keep real estate agents. And you really have to self-assess yourself. And that's one thing that I do a great job at. I'm not saying that like in an arrogant way, but I get insight when we do our self-assessment and we walk them through it. You're like, this is the issue. And many times it's the people that need to change, the leaders, the owners.
Yeah, it's amazing how we can get in the way of our own selves, and we are the lid, as you said. That's really powerful, because a lot of times those individuals will point to this or point to that and say, well, it's this or it's the environment that I'm in. And it's like, no, it's the decisions that everything starts with thinking. And your thinking just, it's not working.
But another big, and I don't want to exaggerate here, but I don't think I'm exaggerating, is that a lot of young business owners, they hear this word, you got to serve. I get it. I understand. I'm a believer like you. But this is the mistake. They do it as a fad to sound cool to fit in with everybody else. And I challenge them. I said, let me ask you a question. You show me a restaurant that didn't have any revenue coming in, that served their community and is open. Well, I don't know. They closed down.
Exactly.
I said, Chick-fil-A, one of the biggest, probably there. I don't know, I'm not sure what the stats are, but I'm pretty sure they're about to pass McDonald's in case they haven't. I said, Chick-fil-A, during COVID, they have a lot of great principles that they live by in their business model. They give millions to the community. But Chick-fil-A wasn't giving out chicken sandwiches every day just because during COVID. Why? Because they were still serving, but it's the way you serve it. So many people use that terminology just to sound cool. And there's so many small businesses and entrepreneurs that serve themselves to be broke.
Yeah, I think it's like a virtue signaling, right? Like, hey, I'm more virtuous than you as a business owner because I did this, this, and this. And it's like, yeah, but let me see your P&L. It's like your P&L. I always tell people, like, you can have the heart, but the P&L does not have a heart. The P&L looks at profit and loss, and if you're at a loss, you don't have a business.
Yeah,
And I agree. I've seen several people do that. Not anybody I coach, I won't allow it. But I've seen people that go down that path, and I don't know if it's coached into them or trained into them or somebody's telling them this, but they're getting the wrong messaging. It's not that they can't serve; they have to still have a profitable business, and the more profitable your business is, the more you're able to give, and the more time you have because you're building your business and you're getting leverage through people, tools, and systems. Now you got more time you can give, but you can't do that unless you're a profitable business.
well, I think the word that's been used out of, right. I mean, I think people say it just to sound cool, and I think even right. I have a big following on LinkedIn. I have close to over 16,000 followers on LinkedIn, and you heard this word started probably about 3 or 4 years ago was servant leadership, and everybody wants to say it because it's the in thing. Well, yeah, but you can't even servant leadership, you can't abuse it. It's the world is a world of dualities, right? The world has a cause and an effect in everything, and I talked about that in our book, The Millionaire Mind. And one of the things is that there has to be a balance to everything. So if you're giving, you got to receive. And many people, they have a problem receiving, Jeremy, and they wonder why their business isn't growing, and because they have the wrong relationship with money too. How can you expect this is what I hear sometimes. Well, money's not important to me, Daniel. Well, yeah, I get it, right? But if you really have that belief system, which many millions of people do, what does a client turn into at some point? Revenue. What is that revenue going to become? Money. So if you're saying that you have a problem with money or money's not important, subconsciously somewhere you're self-sabotaging yourself, and people that want to work with you, you're pushing them away by default and you're not even aware of it. And then you wonder why your business is struggling without any clientele, without any business, without any revenue itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It got me thinking about, in terms of faith, there's a lot of people that misconstrue that verse, that money is evil. It's like, you didn't read the whole thing because it says the love of money is evil. Money is a tool. It comes, it goes, it ebbs, it flows, and it allows you and creates for you more opportunities. It's the love of money that's evil. It's not the money itself. And so my goal is to go out and make as much as possible so I can have a greater impact beyond just me. I believe, and that's something I want to get your thoughts on, is as a business owner, and I speak this into my coaches, is you can have a great business, but it needs to be bigger than that. Like there needs to be a bigger reason for the business. Do you believe that the business should be bigger than themselves?
Oh, of course. I think that's where people don't realize the impact that someone can have. Because if you, it goes back to many things, but I'll kind of give you what's a short version of it is that it's not about Daniel Gomez. It's not about Jeremy. It's about the people that we're impacting on our journey of growing. And the thing is, I love what you said, right? It's about leaving a legacy for yourself, for your family, and think about this, right? I didn't want to write this book, Jeremy. I really didn't. The Makings of a Millionaire Mind. I stopped, and because it just, I know that there was going to be some pushback or resistance to it, but because I was open-minded to it, it's been a huge success. It became a course, our life boot camp. Because of those things, now we're able to help orphanages in Africa. We're able to help people in the community. And it's not about just the money, ladies and gentlemen. It's about the things that you can do with the money, the greater impact. And I think that's where people miss it, because when people can feel like they belong to something bigger, because right now there's a lot of hopelessness in our country. And the word of God says hope deferred makes the soul sick. So right, they can't even see for themselves to say. But when you're able to go out there and give somebody hope, whether it's through a scholarship, or whether it's through a gift, or whether it's through money, whatever it may be, that's the bigger picture. That's the bigger, right? I think so many people, it makes me, I hate when people say, well, what's your why? It's stupid. Your why changes. Your why is going to change as you continue to grow as a human being, as a business owner.
Yeah,
Maybe,
date the why, don't marry it.
yeah. And many people use, like, they put it out of context. Just to, once again, they want to sound cool. So they hear everybody say that. And no, like, you're right. Like, for instance, we were talking about it, right? I guarantee you, between last week and next week, my why is going to change. Why? Because we just lost two family members. There's going to be a definitely, my why is shifting somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but the things that are going to motivate me coming into 2023, it's going to be a whole different perspective, because it's just a different experiences that we've had in life. And I think that's what people need to understand is the experiences that we have in our business. As we grow and experience new things, we're able to share those experiences to help improve the people around us. Because if you change the people, if you impact the people, then the community changes. If you change communities, well, then cities change. If cities change, well, then more people are being impacted. And I think so many people, and I'm going to be totally real with you. You know why? Because they're so selfish. You know why I can say that? Because I was selfish, very selfish at one time, Jeremy. Because all you think about is yourself, and you do that, and you don't allow yourself to get a bigger picture for yourself, get a grab. I never did I ever imagine that I would be speaking in the UK, speaking in Asia. It just, I was happy speaking in San Antonio, right? But it's like, no, like, there's people out there that need what Jeremy had. There's people out there that need what you, somebody listening to this right now, stop being selfish, because your services, people need them out there. And yes, it's going to take more work, but you know what happens, Jeremy, is they reach a level of success that they've never had. Maybe for them, they have $100,000 in the bank as an example now. And to them, it's a lot of money. So they let the foot off the gas. And now they're being lazy, complacent, when in reality, they have another level where they could go to $250,000 into their savings, or even have more than that. And that's what people don't see, is that it's not about just me and you. It's about the people and the impact that we can leave, especially to our children if we have kids.
Yeah, amen on that. And the impact that we need to be having on kids is more important now than ever. So somebody's listening to this today and they're thinking about, maybe they're stuck, and or maybe they're thinking about starting a business. Like, what is one piece of advice from your personal experience of starting this business that you found made you successful? What piece of advice could you pass along to somebody listening today?
Perfection will kill your business. Perfection will kill your dreams. Every business starts as an idea, starts as a dream. The problem we have is this, is I've known thousands and thousands, I'm not even exaggerating, thousands of businesses that have failed because they have the perfect business plan. But you know what? I know many businesses that have succeeded tremendously that had no business plan. Think about that. I've known people that have paid thousands of dollars for a business plan and their business is out within a year. And do I want that? No, but I'm trying to prove the point is what Jeremy asked me is whatever you have in your heart, that gift that you have inside of you, that idea, just act on it. You'll fix it along the way. It goes back to the business card. We're changing business card all the time. Why? Because we're always growing, we're always evolving. Don't wait for the perfect. The same way there's no perfect time to have a baby, Jeremy, because regardless, you can't plan for it. The same way with the business. Yes, use wisdom, but start where you're at. Am I telling you to leave your job and put your family in harm's way? No. But what I am saying is while you're working at the job that you hate, start your business. And then as your business continues to grow, as you're doing it on the side, and as you continue to grow and evolve as a business owner, and you kill that employee mindset, then there's going to come a point where the revenue you're earning on your side business is going to be bigger than your actual or close to what you're doing. And that's going to be the leap of faith that you got to take. But I think I've seen so many people that kill their dreams, kill their business because of perfection, Jeremy. And I think that's the biggest mistake that they make is that. And you don't need a perfect business plan. Just go out there and start. And the second thing is like the third thing is this is right. A, start where you're at. It doesn't have to be perfect. B, you don't need a business plan. Just start where you're at. And then C, seek mentorship or a coach because that's going to help accelerate your results.
100%. I do a business plan, but it's a one-pager. They're like, well, I got to do all this and this. I was like, no, if it doesn't fit on a page, it's not part of the plan because you'll never look at it again. You're just gonna go stick it on a shelf. So I make it pretty easy on them. How do people get in touch with you? So they're listening in today and they like what they're hearing, or they want to pick up a copy of your book, or maybe come to one of your speaking events. Where can they find all this information?
Yeah, what's about it, I tell you what, just go to danielgomezglobal.com. That's danielgomezglobal.com. Fill out our entrepreneur assessment there. It's free assessment that we give out to businesses. And send me a message to there, right? Or you can go to our website, themakingsofamillionairemind.com. Get our book. We'll autograph it for you. Also, our course, if you're a young business owner, the Makings of a Millionaire Mind course is going to make a difference in you. And that's on our website, The Makings, with an S, themakingsofamillionairemind.com. Or just call me, right? I mean, I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm not one of those prima donnas. Call me at 210-663-5954. That's 210-663-5954. Send me a message. I'll send you my link. We'll set up a complimentary discovery session. Because I love helping. It's all about helping people, Jeremy. I think right now people need help, and many of them are scared because they've been burned or they don't know where to go ask for help. And sometimes it's as simple as just making a phone call and giving Jeremy or Daniel a call.
And especially men today. I don't know if you saw the news on celebrity Twitch. Took his life today, and from the outside, you go onto his Instagram and looks totally happy. Beautiful wife, dancer, artist, and took his life. You're seeing. I was on a conversation yesterday with he's the president of Bucks, which is a Christian fraternity on college campuses. And that was one of the things that he spoke into was just during that time of the pandemic and the shutdowns on college campus, the ability to come together as small groups because it addressed the needs that men are struggling with mental issues. And so I think it's really important to make those investments in yourself. Find the people that you could be in a circle with to help you grow, because there's other people that are out there that want to grow just like you. Go find them and be with them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a sign of. I'm going to say this: it's not a sign of weakness. Many men out there think if we ask for help, they're being weak because we have that belief system that says men don't cry, real men, right? We're tough. Like, get that BS out of your mind. Real men ask for help. You can still be tough. You can still be a dominant leader for your family and ask for help, because believe me, there's times that I get discouraged, and that could good example, like you said, of that gentleman that took his life Twitch. It's like we try to have this persona that we don't need anything, we have it all together. I promise you, there's going to come a point in your life. I don't care who you are, even Brad Lee and Grant Cardone. You're going to need somebody. You're going to need somebody because we're human, and God designed us that way. And it's a good example. I mean, It's sad that this gentleman took his life, but who came to mind when you said that? I thought it was a great Robin Williams, and he was very successful in the world's eyes. But when your soul is empty, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you're always going to have that hole there.
Yeah, really, really powerful. Well, Daniel, thank you for taking time today. There's so much in this episode. I know that the listeners, I heard you say, take this down, write these notes down. And I know if you take those down, you go and you implement this in your life, go get yourself a coach, go make an investment. Even if it's not me, even if it's not Daniel, go make that investment yourself, and you're going to see your business grow by leaps and bounds. And not only is your business going to grow, but it's also going to help you in life too. So make that investment in yourself. And again, Daniel, thank you for being here today.
Hey, Jeremy, thanks for having me. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor. Don't hesitate to reach out to me.
All right, until next time, onward and upward.
Thank you for listening to the Survive, Scale, Soar podcast. If you heard something that made a difference in your life today, share it with someone that might benefit, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Learn more about the host of this podcast and coaching services offered by Red Hawk Coaching by visiting www.redhawkcoaching.com.